Make sure that you all see me. Good afternoon. I hope you all can hear me and see me. This is Pastor Warfield. Listen, we have a very special webcast that I want to do. It's kind of like an emergency. I had someone who had made himself available to me, and this is some information you need to know. We're going to talk about COVID 19 and our children, our education. What are we going to do this summer? I mean, this fall, going back to school, and why it is so very important that you have a game plan, especially those who are going to high school. So, at exactly 5 minutes, at 6 o'clock, I want you to tune in, and I want you to get your people to tune in as well. You're going to have to share this. And I'm using strong language there, but you're going to need to share it because it's going to bless you. There's so much influx as it relates to what our kids are going to do. It's interesting that most suburban schools have decided to mostly go on an online only model for the kids who are going back because they understand the seriousness. And for DPS, they decided to pretty much stay in classrooms, and certainly we know that it may change between now and the time that they go back. However, I want to talk to an expert in the field, someone who has been in the educational field a long time, and I want to be able to talk to someone who's going to give you options. They're actually going to give you options, and I think you're going to like what you hear. He's a friend of mine that I have known, wow, for probably well over. I've known this guy for well over, um, I think for well over 30 years we've known each other. And he's an excellent educator that is in the field. And so what I want you to do in about 4 minutes now, I'm going to come back on live at 6 o'clock p.m. Please, please tag people, invite people. You're going to want to share this message because it deals with our kids and opportunities for them to grow and learn in a special way in a safe environment. And you are not going to want to miss this. So again, at 6 o'clock, about 3.5 more minutes, we are going to, about 3 minutes now, we're going to come on live and we're going to show you what you need to do. And so what I'm going to do, I'm not even going to go off the air. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to put our logo up. And as I put the logo up, I want you to know that we're going to get ready to come back live right at 6 o'clock. And I want you to be ready. I want you to be ready. Share this. If you have questions about what our kids are doing for 2020 as relates to our educational model. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my glasses. As relates to our educational model and how do we move forward in a very proactive and productive way? How do we provide the best opportunities for our kids to grow and to excel? You are going to want to be a part of this. You're not going to want to miss it because if you do, you are literally going to miss a blessing. So, in about 2.5 minutes, we'll be on the air live talking about it, myself and a very special guest. But I think the church has to be, in the forefront of this. The church has to, I believe, lead the way, especially in times and in days like this. And so, what I want to make sure from all of us who are listening in, for all of us who are going to be a part of this, that you get it and you get it very clear. It's very clear and it's going to be very powerful. So in about 2 minutes, we'll be right back with you. I'm gonna put the logo up now, but I'll see you in about 2 minutes. Bless you. Okay. Bye bye. Well, good evening. Good evening to all of you. This is Pastor Warfield, Unity Baptist Church, and this is a very special presentation that um, a very special presentation. Good. I'm sorry, I didn't know my other mic wasn't on. Good evening. This is Pastor Warfield, and this is a very special presentation that we want to share with you tonight. And the reason we want to share this presentation with you tonight is because something very special is going to happen. And what's going to happen tonight is that you're going to have an opportunity. You're going to have an opportunity to literally get some information that I think is going to be game changing. It's a life changer. We're living in some strange times, as most of you know, with this COVID-19. And what is come upon us, and I was watching some of the shows on Sunday. Please tag and share this. Please invite others to come. Please make this a watch party. It is critical that you make this a watch party tonight. But one of the things that I was doing is that I was watching others as they were talking about COVID-19 and what we're going to do for our children as school begins to start back up. And one of the things that we know is simply this: we don't know everything. And when you don't know everything, one of the things you want to try and avoid at all costs, you want to try and avoid you becoming a guinea pig at somebody else's expense. In other words, you want to make sure that in this environment that you put your children in the safest environment possible, where they can learn, where they can grow, where they can excel. And so we want to give you an option. We want to talk about the ramifications of the various models that are out there for starting our school year in this COVID-19 environment, and how do we move forward, and what options are available for our children. And as we unveil those and talk about those tonight, you're going to hear from an expert. You're going to hear from a friend of mine. He's actually a personal friend. He really is, and for disclaimer purposes, I want you to know that. But he's more than just a personal friend. He's someone who has literally who's literally been with me for quite some time. I've known him for over 30 years, known his family, and he's just a dear brother, but he's serious in his profession and what he's doing. And so we want to bring him on, and that's my good friend, Mr. Reginald Kirkland. And Mr. Kirkland is president.
Thank you very much, Pastor Warfield. I appreciate this opportunity to speak to the community at large, and especially the Unity Baptist Church community. Okay. How you doing today? Welcome. Excellent. You just can't help it, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I've been in education for about 28 years. Started in Detroit Public Schools in 1992, Burbank Middle School on the east side, and from there stayed in DPS as a teacher, and eventually joined the administrative ranks. I was the assistant principal at the Wayne County Juvenile Detention Facility School. That was my first administrative experience. It was baptism under fire, and I learned a lot about this world of education and the ramifications beyond education. What happens when an education fails a community and a child individually, and also what can be done before a kid gets to a point where they're in crisis. And that inspired me to get back into the regular K-12 ranks, and I became an assistant principal at the former Brooks Middle School in Detroit. And from there, principalships all the way through DPS, Hanneman Elementary School on the southwest side, McGraw and Livernois, one of my favorite schools of all time. I was the principal there, and also in Detroit with Bates Academy, but also in Gwinnett County Public Schools. And Gwinnett County Public Schools is in Georgia, and it's one of the highest performing school districts in the country. It's been consistently ranked in the top 5. And I learned a lot of leadership, about excellence, about accountability, and about high performance in Gwinnett County. I thank God for that experience. Beyond the K-12 ranks, I worked at your alma mater, Michigan State University, where I worked for the K-12 outreach office, and we served all of what they call the priority schools. Those are the lowest 5% of schools in the state of Michigan. And my territory was from Port Huron all the way over into Washtenaw County and all points in between. So I had an Oak Park district. I had several Detroit public schools. I had Wyandotte, Ypsilanti school district. I can't even think all of them. Several schools, everything from Port Huron all the way over to Washtenaw County. And also worked with Lake Superior State University. And what we're doing right now is I'm starting this school, this great school, which is Sigma Academy for Leadership and Early Middle College. It is early middle college is a concept that is unique to the Detroit metropolitan area. One that, and I forgot, Pastor Warfield, I worked for Henry Ford College too. And at Henry Ford College is where I learned about the early middle college concept. These early middle colleges, although they started as a school that was focused on the urban environment and the urban student, and they started in Flint, Michigan, the concept took on pretty much in the rural areas and the suburban areas. And in the Detroit metropolitan area, other than Dearborn, and you just advised me of one in Oak Park that I hadn't known about, there really aren't any that are focused on Detroit proper. So we're the first in the community. And what it does is it gives students and their parents the opportunity to graduate with a high school diploma and an associate's degree. And that associate's degree gives students that first 2 semesters of college, or 2 years rather, of college, that is at no cost to their own. And it will transfer to any college or university in the state of Michigan and most across the country. So parents can see, if you are like me, I have 2 college students in my household, I have to pay their tuition. If the students who go matriculate from our school will not have to pay for their tuition for the first 2 years, and they'll only have to pay 2 out of pocket. And if they're going to take advantage of things and do things right, they might get scholarships and don't have to pay for any of it, right? So that's pretty much what I've been doing and where we are today. Yeah, yeah. School building. Right. Right. Mhm. Yeah, I'm glad you're talking about this tonight. It's so important and it is urgent. I will tell you this, and I'm going to speak from a professional and a personal perspective because I'm sure that it cannot be separated. This topic of education is a mission for me, and it's my calling, and it's a very personal thing. I've always practiced safety before anything else. I know our first order of business as educators is to educate. We want to make sure that we provide the highest, world class offering there is if you're a real educator. But before you can do that, you've got to make sure that the environment is safe and conducive to learning. And that means not that you don't put students at risk, you don't put adults at risk. And my major mantra or litmus test throughout my career has always been I won't do for other children what I would not do for my own. So I would not expose my own children to this risk now. And I don't advise it for other people's children at this time. There's no vaccine. The testing is not as efficient as expansive as it should be right now. We're not getting results back in a timely manner. The tracing is not effective because the testing is not effective. And so if you ask yourself, what is different between March when schools had to end abruptly because we felt things were, so urgent and there was so much risk that the governor made the edict, the mandate that schools closed down. What's different between now and then? And my answer to that is nothing, just time. And so if it was necessary to close schools down back then, I don't know what other than politics, other than economic motivators, things that don't have anything to do with education and nothing to do with life and safety. Other than those factors, there's no reason to go back right now. So I would not put my child at risk. I would not, as a person who's led educators, feel comfortable putting other educators at risk in that environment, considering the situation. That's right. That's right. Well, I appreciate this opportunity again. With us, we're opening online for the reasons I just said. I mean, I'm not going to put people at risk, and it may be until January. It may be the entire year. We don't know. And what we'll have to do in January is assess how things are going, and if we deem it safe, and our Board of Education deems it safe, then we'll move forward. And they're going to act on my advisement, and I'm going to be extremely cautious. We do recognize that there are some real perils. You just addressed a couple of them. Many of our constituents and our clientele are not going to have the opportunity to work from home. And that means that they risk other things, like leaving their young children home alone. So we're going to be working with our families to do things like maybe create a simulation type of homeschool model where we're giving the instruction, but there's an adult in a group that's monitoring students together. And there might be various households working together to do the supervision while our people are delivering the instruction. And that's a good scenario. The other piece that we have to deal with is the digital divide. We recognize that our community has really been put in a disenfranchised situation in many areas, but as it relates to the access to digital and technical access, we certainly are behind some other communities. So it's incumbent on our leaders, and I consider myself to be one leading this school, to provide the devices, and they need to be substantive devices that will work, that they can trust, as well as internet access. So we're partnering with Comcast, as many districts are doing, to offer our families internet essentials, which is like a $10 a month charge, to provide internet access for the entire household. And then we're providing Chromebooks, and those are being distributed to every student. So if there's 3 students in a household, each student is getting their own Chromebook. And these are substantial devices. These are not flimsy little tablets and that kind of thing. These are things that they can trust will operate, and they'll be able to access our digital curriculum. Our curriculum is fully aligned to the state standards. It's set up right now for us to deliver digitally. All of our teachers are state certified. So we're ready to go. We'll also provide, some books for students to have in the household so that they can reference while they're working online. But we're prepared to deliver everything online digitally. Mhm. Oh yes, and you hit it right on. This is a blessing. It's a scholarship for students who, you don't have to have a certain grade point average. You don't have to be able to shoot 3-point baskets. You don't have to run 4.40 in the 40-yard dash to get an athletic scholarship to do this. This is something that you can earn just by deciding to take on that extra year. Now, it is not mandated that students go that 5th year. But it is mandated, and I am mandating it as part of this program, that every student gets dual enrollment. So even those students who decide to just go 4 years, they will end up with 15 credits of college under their belt. So that's a semester. Now, if they're patient and stick with it, and like you said, Brother Warfield, the same thing happened to me. I was in college I was a first semester, first generation student. I was the first in my family to go to college. And I didn't know what I wanted to do when I got there. All I knew was to get there. That was my goal, get there. Then I got there, and then what, right? And so it took me a little while to figure out, what I wanted to do and what was my pathway for success. We'll be working with our students, not just from ninth grade to 13th grade to figure that out and help them figure it out, but this is a K through 13 school. And there's a reason why we took on kindergarten through the 8th grade as well as the high school. And that was because, and I don't mean any malintention with this, but I cannot trust some of these other organizations, the way they deliver instruction, to provide the kind of quality that's necessary for students to take on the rigor of an early middle college. And so I needed to make sure we started with the kindergarten students. And in the second phase of this, we're going to be doing some early childhood as well. So we'll be getting kids before their school age first, in the introduction to school, all the way through the end, and that intersecting with college, so that we know there's a true pathway to success, and that kids are getting what they need foundationally to be successful, not only in our program, but when they go on to complete their 4-year degree, their master's degrees, and beyond, professional and doctorate or what have you. Sure. So we are accepting applications right now, and enrollment is the time to do it. I'm urging people to do it really quickly right now so we can set them up for success, and we're not making last minute decisions about school. Unfortunately, that's tended to be the case in our community. Everybody waits until after Labor Day and then they rush into school. Don't do that, especially this year. Let's get this done. Let's get this solidified right now. And you can actually apply online right now at www.sigmalaemc.org. That's www.sigmalaem, as in Mary, c.org. And you'll find very prominently displayed at the top of the page the application. You can fill it in right online, and it will migrate right into our database, and you'll be enrolled, and we'll follow up with you on some other documents like health forms and things like that after the fact. But this is a very short application that you can get done very quickly, no longer than 5-10 minutes, and get your children involved in this great opportunity. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. The phone number, if you have any questions, is 888-569-3424. That's 888-569-3424. That's great. That's right. Sure, it's www.sigmalaemc.org. Sure. Okay, I love this. So the first benefit is you're going to get an education that is going to be rigorous. It's going to be challenging and it's going to be world class. The models that exist currently in the area are not comparable. To find a comparable opportunity, you're going to have to look beyond where we live. And I don't mean that as a slight, but it's just the reality. Um, we're not going to drop kids in, as some places do, into a really tough learning environment and say, have at it, good luck. We have a lot of wraparounds and supports. And this is not a program where we're testing students to limit access. Every student who wants to take this on, every parent who wants to take this challenge on is welcome to do so. And they will not be turned down. We will test, but the testing is for diagnostic purposes. So we know where students are and not only what their cognitive and ability levels are, but also what their preferences are. We do a lot of soft testing. We want to know about their interest. We do interest inventories and things like that. And we tailor our educational programming to the individual student. So this is going to be extremely unique. But the big payoff is this. If you stick with us, whether you come in at kindergarten, whether you come in at fifth grade, whether you come in at eighth grade, whether you come in as a ninth grader, and you stick through it through the 13th grade, you will end up with basically a fiscal benefit. You will have a 2-year scholarship to college. And right now we have in our marketplace, and it always seems to be the case when we're working with urban learners, African-American, Latino learners, poor students, they always push trades. And I'm not opposed to that. I think that's a great opportunity for some people. Everything is not for everybody. Our mission is to push people into the college ranks. But with saying that, there are trades associated with the college ranks. So one of the pathways that's very prominent is information technology with us. Another is culinary arts. Another is marketing and management. And there's a litany of others. So the trades are beyond just the trades of plumbing and carpentry and so forth, but also these other trades that I think are more are going to be more of value and in high demand in the upcoming years, the years that our children will be living in. So that's the benefit. That's the payoff. You get a college, 2 years of a college right now, not on your dime, but on our dime. And then you only have 2 years to pay for, and we're going to support you to getting there. And I think that's a great, great value for anybody. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for asking me, and I'll be glad to come back. God bless you. Thank you.